This video is sponsored by Inaudible. More about them at the end of the video.
The Eminence in Shadow. It takes every isekai trope you've ever heard and blows it up to an atomic level. MC's death? Yeah, it's by truck, but the truck doesn't just hit him. He throws himself in front of it. His abilities? Broken. Absolutely broken to a disrespectful extent, but we'll get into that later.
His harem, Shadow Garden, easily one of the biggest in all of anime. And the girls in the harem, each one is hotter than the next and head over heels in love with our MC. Every woman who spends so much as a second in his majestic presence falls in love with him and will stay in love with him for the whole series.
We sound so stupid. Okay.
What do you mean?
So what really makes Eminence stand out against all the other isekai with similar tropes?
He doesn't cringe at the sound of his own voice.
What are you talking
I was
about?
like,
We should embrace ourselves.
We should embrace.
like how Eminence in Shadow embraces, like Lord Shadow embraces himself.
He does embrace himself. He is not affected by cringe, like, in the slightest.
And neither should we.
So, what really makes Eminence stand out against all the other isekai? Cid frickin' Kagenou.
My name is Shadow, he who lurks in the shadows to hunt the shadows.
A man so dedicated to being epic that he will literally die and bring himself back to life just to get the right amount of drama out of a scene.
I mean, he is the kind of guy who will, like, get tortured on purpose so that he can stay as a background character for the whole series.
This interrogation is such classic minor character material.
Now, all of this was established in season 1, and a hell of a lot happens.
So at the middle part of season 1, you're like, I have no idea where this is going. Is this going anywhere? I have a feeling this is not really going anywhere. But there's a really big twist that happens at the end of season 2.
You literally ran downstairs to tell me about what had happened, but like, we're not there yet, so just stop trying to jump the gun, okay, Gordon? Just let things happen in the order that they're supposed to happen. So we open on a scene of Cid hanging out with Shadow Garden, and he's going on about some nonsense about how
A storm is brewing. A storm of blood.
the clouds part in the sky, and you know what? The moon outside really is blood red, and everyone freaks out. Then Cid randomly says,
The red moon.
like, he says it like it means something.
Like, he doesn't even believe in this legend that he's spouting, but all the girls are like,
Oh my god, you foresaw this coming this whole time.
But of course, the legendary red moon really is a sign. The blood queen from that legend really is coming, and things are about to go down. Gordon, can you explain to me what the major storyline and conflict of this season is?
right.
You know, like the issue with the blood queen and the counterfeit money scandal. Yeah, can you do that?
Well, no.
I'm so glad we're making an episode about this. Clearly, we're very knowledgeable about our subject matter.
I have to say, I remember just as much about this season as I did when I was watching this season. You can watch it, and immediately after the episode ends, you'll be like, I don't know what just happened.
We've got John Smith, okay?
Yes.
That's Shadow's new persona, his new alter ego, who's like very grandiose, very like, I'm gonna kill everybody. No, he doesn't say that. So yeah, he aims to like overturn the economy and save his business, which is called Mitsugoshi. So he teams up with the wolf fox girl, and then they work together to like add in more counterfeit bills before the MCA does it, so that they will be the ones to gain from the economy crashing, which would have happened regardless if they hadn't have done that.
That's what you've been planning all along.
And then there's also the whole Blood Queen thing. Basically, Shadow Garden is more concerned about the legend of the Blood Queen. So that's why they're concerned about the Lawless City. But Cid, obviously, he just wants the money. So that's why he goes there, and the entire thing takes place in the Lawless City.
You know why he liked the Lawless City so much, though?
Why?
Because it was named after him.
Are you talking about City sounds like Cid?
Yeah.
Please just don't kill me!
I think Cid's like, he's almost always off doing his own thing. But I feel like he steps it up this season when he becomes John Smith. It's like he actually momentarily forsakes the name of Shadow. He fully plans to go against like everything that Shadow Garden is thinking they're gonna do this season for their benefit, but still, I think this is like the most he's ever branched off on his own.
But what I love about him as John Smith is that he never really loses his true self in that disguise, like he never goes too far. When Delta goes and attacks him, you know, and it reaches the point, because he can destroy any of them if he wanted to.
Of course,
you know?
yeah.
He was like,
I'm right in the middle of a hush-hush secret mission.
A hush-hush secret mission?
And if you report to Alpha about John Smith, my hush-hush secret mission will end in failure. You don't want that, do you?
Why?
Because it won't be a secret anymore.
hey,
That
it's a
was so
secret.
cute,
It was really
actually.
cute. It was nice
Yeah.
to see that he didn't lose himself in his disguise, because we know he's just there for the fun.
So whether he's Shadow or John Smith or, you know, Mundane Man, whatever alter ego he comes up with, one thing that will always stay the same is that Cid is going to be overpowered, and I would say to like a disrespectful extent.
Well, this season you meet one of the strongest antagonists ever,
Yeah, you
Vampire
do.
Blood Queen. They also have that other evil money guy who's like, money.
The wolf-looking dude? Yeah, I don't remember what his name is
Yeah,
either.
okay. Point is, Vampire Queen is someone that no one would really come close to. No one
Yeah,
can even come
yeah,
close to,
totally.
you know? So, how many nations they say she was able to destroy?
4 entire nations.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a lot.
That's a lot of nations, okay? Any nation to destroy is a lot.
But Cid just shows up and destroys her.
Yeah, like, just like that. It's like, honestly, it's really similar to me to the battle that he had with Aurora, the Witch of Calamity from season 1. I would say is the strongest character, aside from Cid, because she can actually copy some of his abilities and stuff. But even her, she's supposed to be this, like, canonically the strongest character in the entire verse, the woman who could single-handedly destroy the entire world, not even just nations. And he beats her without trying.
Remember there's a bit, and he was like,
I do have a boss battle coming up soon. I've been showing up fashionably late a lot recently. I gotta change it up sometimes. Operation Start the last boss battle before the named characters show up. Whoa, what an intense battle! There's no way we can fight like that! It's a go!
and the Vampire Blood Queen was still like regenerating.
Now return to life, beloved Elizabeth, and let us bind ourselves together in
That was pretty cool.
I was so sure that this is where the last boss was going to be. So is this one of those events that focuses on group battles and there actually is no boss?
Well, Eminence doesn't have the same issues as a lot of other overpowered like isekai protagonists. One, you know, where you have a lot of overpowered protagonists and then the antagonist just means nothing. There's no stakes. And then the second one is that there's just too many antagonists where it becomes an issue.
All of those issues, Eminence just completely skips past each and every one of them by the grace of its incredibly weird and very edgy protagonist, Cid.
Because you've seen a lot more than I have. What do you think makes him weirder than all the other like isekai protagonists?
Generally, the protagonist's ideology comes down to one of two mindsets, which is either they like really care about doing good and they want to be a good guy, a hero who saves everyone, or they simply just don't freaking care at all, you know? I'm OP, it doesn't bother me. But never is there a protagonist who just cares about being cool. That is his entire life's goal, is to be epic, like to be the Eminence in Shadow. And everyone else in the show will be like worried over life and death things, so the stakes are high. It'll be stuff like, can I defeat my evil fiance? I can never live up to my sister's legacy, what am I gonna do? And I've got to take down this entire evil cult because it's ruining people's lives. And then you've got Cid, who is worried about making the most epic entrance possible.
This is your first performance as the Eminence in Shadow. I see you've awakened.
But yeah, I would say the disparity in ability is just so great that it like almost bypasses being funny and bypasses being absurd sometimes, and then just comes back around to being straight up cool.
His greatest power, whether it's mental or physical, is plot convenience.
Definitely.
Your reward. Take it.
He can just magically make plot points happen by saying it out loud.
And the one behind it all is... Yes. The mastermind is... the Cult of Diablos.
The whole conflict that you have lasting up till season 2 is because he saw a label on a bottle and made up this fake antagonist so he can sound cool, and now it's an actual like central plot point.
Yeah.
It's like that other time when he was trying to rescue his sister.
We don't know which hideout is the one where they are keeping Miss Claire.
That one. Damn it, I missed.
It can't be. These cryptograms were a bluff?
But it just so happens to be where she is.
Like he guesses it into existence,
yeah,
basically.
Exactly. Like how we guessed 100 million subscribers into existence.
Which reminds me.
Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and comment.
Anything that you want.
Algorithm, help.
We've talked about some of Cid's greatest strengths. Let's move on to one of the show's greatest strengths, which I think is its humor. So much of the humor, I think, comes from Cid and everyone else in the show just being on completely different wavelengths.
I smell it. The lawless city reeks of blood.
Some might say different worlds.
Didn't I say that? We're not there yet.
Oh, right. You did that thing where you wrote me a line
I did.
just to diss me. It's good writing. It's good. I believed what I said. I was in character and...
Like, we don't have to keep that part in.
No, it's okay. I like being humiliated.
Yes, Cid is kind of on his own planet, okay?
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to tell if it's actually real or if he's just playing his part really well. And I think that kind of distance between those two is where the humor comes from.
Yeah. Rose is a good example of a lot of the misunderstandings. So she thinks that Cid is like in love with her.
They can't kill her! The first person in a class to be killed by terrorists is a role that always belongs to a background character!
You fool.
I'm dead.
I understand now. You loved me so much you were willing to give your life.
All Cid cares about is he wants to turn Rose into the worst tyrant the world has ever seen so that he can have the best final boss battle possible.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love how during his battle with Perv Asshat, he ultimately defeats him because he just happened to find the ring by chance and was like, I'm keeping this, without knowing that that was like the key to all the power.
Yes.
You remember everyone starts getting all teary-eyed because they think Cid is protecting them?
Lord Shadow! Are you shielding us from her onslaught?
So like, oh my gosh, and he's given off all these lines like,
I cannot afford to lose a single one.
Oh, Lord Shadow! Is that how deeply you care?
and he's talking about his gold.
Yeah.
He's talking about his gold.
I can't afford to lose anymore!
The funniest thing, right? Everything goes his way except what he wants, which is getting money. He never gets money.
No, he really never does.
Even if he finds gold, he loses it during a fight. So that's his only weakness, is he can never get rich.
Speaking of like Perv Asshat, just the names in this show.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I remember you meet his two NPC friends.
oh yeah.
Poe and Skell. In season 1, we find out that Poe's last name is actually Tato.
I am Potato, the ladies' man.
And then I made an offhand joke. I was like, what's Skell's last name? Eto?
One last thing about the humor. One of the funniest things that happens this season, I think, Cid meets Mary, and she gives this like little speech.
The frenzy has begun. We are out of time.
And he's like,
oh my god.
I have to use that line every single time. And he just keeps like regurgitating that every time he does anything.
Yep.
The frenzy has begun.
Who are you?
The frenzy has begun. The frenzy has begun. Checkmate.
A lot of the best parts of this season, I think, come from the filler bits, where you just get to see a lot more of these different characters' relationships and dynamics and stuff. Like the water park episode. The whole time...
I forgot about that whole episode, because nothing happens that episode.
Everyone's waiting for Cid to show up that episode. And it reminds me of like waiting for Godot, but he's never gonna show up. He never does. And that's the whole episode. Is them just like I mean, stuff happens, I guess.
They were like, did Cid plan this? Yes. Do not show up so that we could have some free time.
Yeah, they're like, he's so thoughtful. He thinks through everything.
Yep.
Thank you for the wonderful day off.
You already brought this up, but I think my favorite part, maybe of the whole season, was scenes with Cid and Delta when they get to hang out. She's just so funny, and it's so cute and wholesome. And I really like how the whole season, all these girls in Shadow Garden, they're always fighting to get just like a minute of extra time with Cid, like alone or Shadow. But Delta just happens naturally, and she's just so innocent about it.
I had a feeling you people would be the first to figure it out.
We also get to see a bit more between Cid and Alpha this season, and I think it's just really nice because Alpha's kind of the one that started everything.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and you got to see a bit more of their dynamic. Oh, this is the thing that I love. I love how he recalls things from his world, right? Which is kind of like 100 years in the future.
Yeah.
He just talks about it, and all the people in his Shadow Garden just starts materializing them.
Yeah.
You know, one of them starts writing like literature, one of them starts writing like Beethoven's like, Moonlight Sonata.
Yeah.
Like everything in the world comes
They come
to,
up with the idea of credit scores and like bills.
all because he said something
Yeah, I'm
probably
like,
vaguely.
when would that even come up in conversation?
Yeah.
Where he's like, so here's the thing about your credit score, guys. Who do you think understands him best? I would say, if you want to hear my answer.
I want to hear your answer.
Good. Aurora. I think they kind of have like a semi-mutual understanding and respect for each other that most of the other characters don't have. I'd be kidding me right now. You're fired.
Sure. Okay, go ahead and edit. Be my guest.
When this show makes $1 million, Gordon, you're not gonna get any of it, okay?
So, do you want to explore my house? Get a load of my room.
Oh, this is even smaller than my little weasel's doghouse.
Let's stop exploring.
Now, we've reached the finale. Stop doing that. No, talk about the ending.
The
okay,
ending.
The final battle.
Yes.
So we've got like Shadow versus... what the hell do they call him?
You can't even remember. Man, this is hopeless. You're the expert that I turn
know. Because usually I have all the answers, but this time...
How do we remember more of Godless World than we do?
That was easy! Mordred, Sir Mordred, who turns out to be like kind of the surprising, like, I'm actually the real villain. But he starts talking about, you know, the Black Rose. That connects to, there's all these different worlds out there. I mean, the second that I heard other worlds, I was like, wait a second.
Could it be that we humans came here from other worlds as well?
It's crazy.
Cid opens up a black hole, he gets sucked through it, and suddenly he's in his original world.
Yeah, just a little context. We watched the first episode together, which is rare that you're showing me something that you haven't already kind of screened.
That is true.
So we thought this was gonna be like a high school mystery thriller, and then he dies in the first episode.
Yeah.
And so we were both really shocked until like the after credit scene showed that it was an isekai. We didn't know it was an isekai until it became an isekai. I just thought it was hilarious that they did the whole first episode with fleshed out characters, and we were just never going back to it. The crazy thing about this specific isekai isn't just that he enters another world, he enters the other world as a baby. So he grew up his whole life again in this world. So when season 2's ending came around and they mentioned different worlds, I was like, no way.
Do you want to give any guesses for what happens next?
I think we'll come to a point where the two worlds collide into each other.
I was thinking maybe Shadow Garden is gonna come find him. Realness rating. What's the realness rating of this show?
This show, I'd say 50%.
50%. Honestly, I'd give it 50. Because like you hear the premise and you might drop it down, but it's more real than you think.
Definitely seems like a show that was made.
It does seem like a show that was made. You put that so well.
Thank you.
There's something to it.
There's something to it.
Eminence.
Yeah. It's like half there. Because the other half is like, well.
Yeah, that's it. Bye. I just wanted to do it because you always do it. No, okay, yeah. So 10%.
You suddenly seem
very cool.
I don't know what it is, but
that was really, really awesome.
Be careful and don't jump in front of a truck and kill yourself because that world does not exist, and if it does, you're not gonna be Cid Kagenou. Alright, bye! What's a me thing? Begging for subscribers?
I would never stoop so low, but you can go for it.